So, by the way, Deanna, just to show how she has much better horror bona fides than us, Trilogy of Terror is a TV movie from 1975. So, like, that's why you're on here, is to pull things like that. Where Alana and I are like, I really like that Halloween movie.
I finally watched. I finally watched.
I
Finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally watched.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. I'm Milan.
And this is David. And today I finally watched Trick or Treat.
This episode is sponsored by Off Script Clothing, a fashion line by influencer Tyler Budden, inspired by iconic movie costumes that give recognizable versions of movie clothing while staying away from cosplay.
Think cinematic streetwear, shirts, jackets, and hats for movies like Blade Runner, Fight Club, and more.
Visit offscriptclo.com. That's offscriptclo.com or at off_script.clo on Instagram. Links down below. Today we have a special guest. You've heard her on the pod before. Welcome back, Deanna. Last time you were on the pod, I believe we reviewed around this time of year Halloween
4.
4.
2.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hi Alon. Hi David. Yes, it was Halloween 4, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of the ones that was not like the rest of them, right?
The boring one.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought the one that wasn't like the rest of them was 3.
Is that okay? Was that the one? All right. Maybe.
But 3 is without Michael Myers. You definitely reviewed one with Michael Myers.
Yeah, so then it must have been 4.
So 4 was the one where the townspeople start shooting random people they think are Michael Myers.
Yes.
And then they hide up in the sheriff's house, but then they leave no cops to protect it.
Yeah, yes.
So does that mean we're on number 6 this year,
Correct.
David? Wow.
Ooh. Did you guys already watch number 6? Have you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. So to be continued, I guess. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
We actually put all of our efforts this week
Mhm.
into Trick or Treat.
Good.
So, David, this is your first time watching Trick or Treat. It has become, I think, this movie and the Scream franchise has become two of my favorite multiple movies to watch during Halloween season. And I think this started out like a really small cult classic. Hardly anyone knew about this. And then one year it just blew up to the point where Spirit Halloween started selling like life-size Sam animatronics to, for in front of people's houses and like all this stuff. The lollipop with the bite out of it was a prop and everything.
Yeah.
It's become like this huge cult classic phenomenon. And now I introduce it to you.
Well, thanks for that. So this movie was supposed to come out a year after Superman Returns, from what I read. And because that did so poorly, Trick or Treat was written and directed by Michael Dougherty, I believe is how you say this English-looking name.
Yeah.
And then Bryan Singer was sort of involved, whatever. And Superman Returns didn't do well, so they just removed this from the calendar, Trick or Treat, the next year. I should start saying Trick or Treat, but anyway.
You should.
Yeah, I should, so I don't sound like a fucking moron. But
no hard R for this title, okay?
Well,
exactly. So
people say it like that though, because it's so silly.
And so they removed it from the theatrical release, and this is not a theatrical movie because of that. This came out straight to DVD in like 2009. I started watching this. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And it felt like it's funny is it is rated R, but it feels like a PG-13 movie in a lot of ways. And then it is like, hey, you know what would be cool? Goosebumps for adults.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of the dark for adults? But then I think the connections And the reason it has such rewatchability, as you talked about a lot, is there's so much you can see in the background. Like the other characters are in the background throughout, which is something I missed a little bit of, and I will watch this again at some point. But the story also, once it starts connecting, is so much like richer. And then a lot of the stuff that I was like, that makes no sense in the beginning, in the end ties together. Like I was like, why are these horrors that last Halloween we're in San Diego, the year before we're in Tampa, are now going to the middle of Ohio to just fuck guys? Like I don't really understand this.
Right.
So then during the reveal, you're like, oh, all right, this
You know
makes
what's
a
so
lot more
funny
sense.
is when you and I were talking about this and you were in the middle of your watch, you were like, yeah, the vampires. And I said, I thought they were werewolves. And you go, no, he's like going around the street biting people like a vampire. I had to stop myself short. I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just the
Okay.
werewolves. The werewolves popped up as like this motherfucker.
I would have to say that is probably one of the coolest portrayals of werewolves. One, being a pack of all women, and two, their
Being hot.
transformation super hot, and their transformations are ripping the skin, like the layer of skin off of their bodies.
Mhm.
So I read that it's the same people behind the transformation for these werewolves are from Underworld Rise of the Lycans.
Oh, I unfortunately saw that movie in theaters.
Yeah, well maybe that was the
That.
I saw one of the Underworld movies in theaters because my friend Sam was really into them. I don't remember which one, and they made me sit in the back, and I at that time had bad eyesight, so I couldn't even really see what was going on. I just remember Kate Beckinsale in it and Michael Sheen. But
Oh.
then they,
See that.
I guess the outfits was like were mostly like practical with like CGI enhancement.
I think that was actually Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree too. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also was like, why are these girls hanging out with Anna Paquin? And then you find out, oh, it's a sister situation. And then the line, like, yeah, mom always said she was the runt of the litter.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a movie that like I think you have to like it brings you in as it goes along, and then more and more watches, I think you love it more and more. I still do think the feel of it is like it's a rated R. It's definitely has to be rated R, but it's like it's the gore is very like restrained and hidden in a way that makes it feel PG-13 almost. I think I don't know, is there one F word?
You're right. I'm not sure. I think there were maybe a couple swears, and that may have been what landed it that rating. But I mean, I think with killing, what you know, what are the things that make something rated R? Killing, right?
Yeah.
I think nudity and
Well,
murder.
I'm also curious if like because this got pulled so early in the schedule, if it like got an R rating and they were like, oh well, we'll try and get it lower, and then they never had to because it didn't get released, and so it just stuck in an R. But it feels like it's very close to a PG-13 because there's just boobs at the very end. I remember the one F word from Brian Cox, but other than that, it's like a lot of stuff is off screen, like the children being at the bottom of the quarry. Just the subtitle said "tearing of flesh sounds."
Ugh.
When this movie starts, I like the little like PSA about safe trick-or-treating.
Right.
And I'm going to ask this very specific question to Deanna.
Yes.
It seemed like there was either some sort of comic book involved or something about like it's very like the intro and everything is very comic booky. Is there a comic book involved for this movie?
I'm so glad you bring this up because this is exactly what I wanted to talk about. So like for the folks who don't know, my day job is that I work in comics. I'm a cartoonist and comic book editor. So the intro is basically a little bit of not like narration, but kind of panels with a little bit of information, like the PSA. And I thought that was really interesting. But yes, there actually is, and I screenshotted about the comic book. So I guess DC partnered with Wildstorm Comics, and they wanted to do
Oh.
a 4-issue adaptation of the movie. And I think like Fiona Staples was gonna illustrate it, but it was gonna be released. So actually, I think the original release for the movie was supposed to be earlier than 2009, right? Like 2007 or something?
Yeah, 2007.
So I think they wanted to release it weekly in October of 2007. Um, but I guess the film got blacklisted, so they pushed it back. And then they released it as a graphic novel in 2009. And I think Fiona Staples did end up illustrating that one. But I loved that, seeing a little bit of a nod to, nostalgia in that comic book intro and the end of the movie, and then like having them do an adaptation. I actually don't know too much about the like how people received the graphic novel. I actually haven't seen it myself, so that's something that I'm probably going to be hunting for now. But Alon, what did you think as one of my comic book collaborators?
So, what's so interesting about that is that originally, okay, well, the whole casting process of this movie kind of revolved around trying to get the right person to be sorry. The whole casting of this was trying to get the right person to be cast as Sam, the little guy, right? So they actually got a 7-year-old to play Sam for like 90% of the time you see Sam. The only times that it was a stunt double was when Brian Cox was like literally throwing him around the room. But all the other times that you see him, it's a 7-year-old boy.
Aww.
And I believe his name. This is good podcasting where I look this
Quinn
up.
Lord.
Is it Quinn Lord?
Yeah, plays Sam. Also, he plays Peeping Tommy with the girls changing in the changing room.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, that's the same guy.
Ladies, there's kids out here.
Yeah.
If you look at the IMDb facts for this, it had to be one person that did all of them, because every single fact was time stamped for where you can go into the movie to see what they're pointing out. And I guess at one point maybe when they're doing the comic book style thing at the beginning, you can actually see what the pumpkin head looking thing looks like originally, I guess.
Oh.
Like you can see the real face. And I don't
Like
know if
under
that
the sack.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking maybe like what it was as a kid. I don't know. So the director said that he wanted it in the second one, he would have gone into the origin story for Sam.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that, because he's just kind of a little guy who just shows up, and there's not really like like what's his motive, why is he there, kind of
He
thing.
does have a motive. He does have a motive, and he does have a why. And the motive and the why is.
I
would you like
do.
to guess?
Yes, the motive is it's the people who he goes after, the folks who aren't celebrating correctly and like blowing
Yeah.
out the pumpkins, taking down the they're not following the Halloween rules. But then he, has his big scene at the end where he's going after the old guy. But why?
Yeah.
But why is that? I mean, I suspect
'Cause
he's.
I think it's because he doesn't hand out treats.
Oh, okay. He wasn't, yeah, because he was playing tricks on the kids instead and stealing their candy.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was because he had that secret about him.
I thought, but then David, I think it could be both. I think they wanted to reveal his secret, but I think they also after the fact, he does go and hand out mints to those girls who show up in the pig masks.
You know what's funny?
Right.
the so like Sam the character has like a morality surrounding Halloween and as you said the rules and who should follow them, right? Like it starts out with Leslie Bibb's character, I think it's Emma,
Yep.
who gets killed because she puts the pumpkin out early and that's like against the rules. But then
Yeah.
there's like also the morality of like the director, right? So Dylan Baker, who I think is my favorite character in this, is Principal Wilkins. Yeah, is going around killing people. So the director put him in this because he saw the movie Happiness. Have you ever seen the movie Happiness, Deanna?
I have not.
So it's it stars Philip Seymour Hoffman and a bunch of other people. It's like apparently like subject matter wise a very fucked up movie. Like not I don't know if anything like disturbing happens, but it's like the subject matter of it's very disturbing. I want to
Okay.
watch it. I want my friend Joey, who's been on here before, told me to never watch it, but now I have to. So like but like then like as I was saying, the morality of like the movie, the director of like that guy's a bad guy, he has to have his comeuppance. The bus driver, we figure out it's the bus driver at the end, and then also we have to see the bus driver get, you know, what's coming to him for killing these kids. So like it's interesting, like those two aspects of the movie.
Hmm.
One thing that I think sort of ties these two things together with Mr. Krieg and Principal Wilkins is the gate scene where he's disposing of the young kid in his backyard and then Mr. Krieg's dog comes out,
Yeah.
right?
Peek through the fence.
There is what that time frame, see if that makes sense to anyone else, where Mr. Krieg comes out, yells at Stephen Wilkins, and then goes back inside, which presumably that's when Sam attacks him.
Right.
But then as the principal is going in back inside his own house, he's like knocking through the window, screaming, "Help me, help me." But it feels like, unless
much.
it took Wilkins a long ass time to put that body down.
Also, Wilkins like is hitting. Presumably, the fat kid from Bad Santa is making noise in the grave site, but then with what seems like not a cut, that kid's head is in the basement because his son yells at him. So it feels like there are some timing issues there.
So I think that when Sam attacks the bus driver, that is at the end, because right before then you see the girls, they've just come back from the party, they've already killed the the principal in the woods, and you see like everybody kind of wrapping it up, like the girls are
Yeah.
excited, and then you see him get killed. That's what I clocked it as, like the timing. It's the girl's story is done, and then Sam
No,
comes
yeah. I
to,
think what Alana was saying is that the time from when
yeah,
Brian Cox yells at the principal
yeah,
to then, if you follow the first time in the principal's story, he like it like seems to like he just after he talks to Brian Cox, he like cuts the kid's head off. His son's like, "Hey, Dad, come inside." He goes
yeah.
inside, and as soon as he walks inside, he sees Brian Cox is like, "Help me, help me," and he's like, "Go fuck yourself," and he walks inside. Whereas when Brian Cox like yells at him in the grave site and then goes inside, that it takes much longer for that part of the story to happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
unless it took a long ass time for the principal to do what he needed to do. Unless there was actually something we didn't see from the principal where he cut off his head, went back inside, put it in the basement, came back outside to like maybe put the rest of the dirt on the body.
I think
Yeah.
that's what you have to assume. Also, that kid, I don't want to keep calling him the fat kid from Bad Santa, but his name's Charlie. When the dad's like, "Go watch Charlie Brown," and he's like, "Charlie Brown's an asshole." Apparently, that's referring to the kid whose head. So maybe the head's already in there.
Oh.
So then maybe and also this principal is probably killing a lot of people that night. So it's probably
Yeah.
the other bodies alive too.
What's kind of interesting about him as a serial killer is the way, like, his MO is so different from each kill.
Anyone
Like,
can get it.
well, in like such an unexpected way, to the point where we as the audience don't know he's the quote unquote vampire.
Oh yeah. The vibe is
Right.
very different.
Well, also he's handing out razor blades in the candy because
Mhm.
Sam gets that candy bar with the razor blades in it that he stabs Brian Cox with, that he slices his leg with.
Mhm.
You know, where that story, here's an interesting factoid. That story started about like all of a sudden parents in the 90s being up in arms about checking your candy.
Where?
Yeah, that started much earlier.
It actually was one very specific case that made like national news that put everyone up in arms about not accepting candy, or at least like, do you remember back then when you used to go trick-or-treating and it wasn't just like store-bought candy, but people like literally like made food and
Oh, yeah,
different
cookies
treats?
and like a candy apple or whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
So after the national news story about razor blades in the candy hit, everyone stopped that because no one was accepting that anymore. That story actually involved a kid dying to razor blades in his candy planted by his own father.
Yes, I think you're correct on that. I think there are a couple incidents like that, but I remember this specific one. Yeah, it was the father.
It was the father, and every known like case involved the kid's own parents. So it was never a stranger killing these kids. It was always someone close to them. Yet that story got so out of hand that it is now like assumed. There's this great joke. I don't remember where it was from, but someone was like, damn, dude, drugs are hard to come by. You think I'm just going to put them for free in your kid's candy?
Right.
Yeah, was that Seth Rogen?
That might have been Seth Rogen.
I
I'm not giving him. I don't think it was him. I'm not giving him credit for
No,
that.
but it sounds like something he'd say. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm also trying to place where that was from.
But you're
Yeah.
right. So the principal is putting out razor blades and also poison, right? Because Charlie, the fat kid from Bad Santa, he was like throwing up an obnoxious amount.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was great.
Apparently, the throw up tasted really good. It was like actual edible food.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
probably like corn syrup and whatever they use to make fake blood because it's like food. It's food grade,
Yeah.
but it looked gross. That was a good kill. Something I like to think about in horror movies are good creative kills, and I think that was a pretty solid one with the
Is
vomit.
that your favorite kill?
In the movie,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's probably my favorite. Just like no, so the child death is like normally a no for me, but I think that he played it so funny. He played it so funny that like it was just great to watch. He did a great job. So like kudos to Charlie.
So they initially the studio was thinking of making this like a straight horror movie and getting rid of the comedic element. So when
Yeah.
Dylan Baker's like having trouble getting him in the house, they're like, "Oh, let's cut that bit." But there's so many child deaths. I don't know how you're going to play this straight horror. Like it has to be a little comedic, a little lighter for you to get
There's a
away with
funny
it.
moment where those three kids that we see later that go down to the rock quarry come to the principal's house right after presumably he got Charlie inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little kid with the pirate eye patch kid looks, you never see this, right? You just see him look on the ground and follow a trail inside Wilkins' house and then looks up at his bloodstained shirt like,
Yeah.
wait
He
a minute, what the
on it.
fuck
He
is going on here?
talked it. I wanted to talk about the writing and like the child death aspect of this, and this might be a little bit of a tangent, but um that whole bus scene, that part of the story, apparently, did you guys read about what that originally was supposed to be?
No?
So I guess it was supposed to be um in a cemetery or graveyard, and those kids lure the girl to play with them, and it's revealed that they're all ghosts and she forgot that she was one of them. But then the writer Doherty, I guess he was like, oh, I'm gonna rewrite this because someone being dead the whole time is overplayed or an overused trope. And I'm like, so you thought replacing it with child death, but also the trope of like harming disabled people because they're a burden on society. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that was like a better call.
I was surprised that all 10 parents of those kids were like in agreement, like, you're right. Our children are a burden to us. We should let the bus driver drown them
But
all.
apparently not just a burden, but they were also bad kids because they were like handcuffed in the bus. It was like a prison bus almost.
No. The principal did that. The bus driver did that specifically so they wouldn't swim out.
Yeah.
But they were already in it. He was checking. It was like he walked through like it was a ride at Disney World. He's like just checking to make sure they're still locked in.
Well, I assumed he did that at the beginning before he.
Why does it have the capabilities to do it? It was just like he retrofitted the bus
Some
that day.
chains and locks at like a Home Depot or something.
Okay, anyway.
I gotta say, I think that was my least favorite part of the movie. Just like that trope, I don't like seeing it. One, the child death is really horrible, but also like, being like disabled people are a burden on our communities and our societies and we want them dead. I did not love that. And to see that was replaced or written because he was like, oh, the everybody's already dead trope. I was like, what? You put something way worse and like more upsetting. I don't know.
It is actually one of my favorite parts of the movie because it sets up such a great payoff at the end of the movie where they all come back to like get revenge on the bus driver, which ended up being Brian Cox's character, which we were introduced to before, which we were like, oh crap. And a big giveaway that was Brian Cox, the bus driver the whole time, was the class ring on his finger, which was prominently shown in the comic book panel intro, which was shown on his finger in the flashback, and which was shown on his finger when we first see him.
Yeah. I liked the payoff, but I just still think that trope.
And it led to my favorite death, which was those asshole kids who took that sweet little girl down to the rock quarry, and then she's going up the elevator with the jack-o'-lantern as they're getting massacred by those little special kids, you know?
Yeah. You talking about retard Rhonda? Is that what we're talking about?
I'm talking about retard Rhonda, yeah.
So, by the way, the kids that were playing mentally handicapped kids were actually disabled or mentally or physically disabled. And apparently they had a blast doing it. I think obviously you're not doing that, but I think at this point it would make sense to kind of just go through the movie because there are some things I don't want to miss over, like the fact that so Leslie Bibb plays the woman at the beginning, which is actually at the end, but at the beginning of the movie, and the fact that they have like a standard porn that they watch every time. She's like, go put the tape on. Yep. I think is hilarious.
I was thinking
and then when she gets killed under the sheet, I almost was like, oh, well, this is going to be like like they're trying to play with you. Like she's actually the one that does the killing and like she survives. Like she's a serial killer or whatever, but nope, no, she's dead. And then like the way her skin is just like draped and I don't even I guess was her face was turned into a jack-o'-lantern. Is that what that's supposed to be?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good kill. Actually, I will say that was my second favorite kill. Under the sheet in front of those kids, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's up there for me.
Turned around and walked away, which was pretty funny also. And like probably the right decision.
Well, also the misdirect before that when she's taking down the decoration. First of all,
white sheets on crosses.
What?
Just white sheets on crosses? Is that what you're going to bring up?
No. I was going to bring up the fact that, like, why are you wasting your time taking down Halloween decorations on Halloween night? Like, save that shit in the morning.
I know. I thought that was so weird. Who does it? It's nighttime. Do it. Make that a problem for yourself tomorrow.
She sees that creepy guy. She sees that creepy guy in the white mask on the other side of the street just staring at her, and she decides to do like a stare off instead of being like, you know what? This can wait till tomorrow. I'm going to go inside and lock the doors. Right.
That brings up like a really good point that I think about in horror movies a lot, which is the lack of self-preservation by characters. Like, you always see someone who's like, don't go in there. There is such a like the way we write characters is that they have that lack of self-preservation. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely would have just been like, yeah, tomorrow, and gone in
Yeah.
the house. But she just stares this dude down and continues doing what she's doing. And I'm like, that was the wrong call, girl. Like, you stay safe. But that's just how they've been like writing horror movies.
I do like how the interconnecting thing about all these short stories is Sam, obviously, but also how he's just sometimes there
Mhm.
and doesn't even play a big part. Like with the werewolves and the girls eating the guys, it pans over to him just sitting on a log watching the whole thing. Even in the flashbacks where the special needs kids take the bus down to the rock quarry, presumably, how old would you say Brian Cox is? Like 30 years ago or something like that?
Mhm.
He's just out there in the field, playing with a dead bird or something. A fun fact about that kid, because there's a whole interview about him that I watched,
Ooh.
is that he was 5 years old when he got cast.
Oh,
And
wow.
then he was 7, I think, when the principal photography was done, or he was 7 when the movie was released, somewhere in that era. And he walks into the casting thing and he does his part, and as he's walking out, apparently he like, oh, I have an idea. So he walks back into the casting room and he's like, hey, can I do something I think Sam would do? And the casting director's like, sure. And he goes really low to the ground and pretends to pet a cat, and then grabs the cat's tail and drags it off. And it was so creepy that the casting director was like, yep, that 7-year-old, definitely. What's a fun Easter egg about that, 2 of them, is the comic book, or one of the like original drawings of Sam has him grabbing a cat by the tail and dragging it off. And the second thing is that as he's leaving, I believe it's
Yep.
Principal Wilkins' house, as he's dragging his sack along, it
Yep.
hits the staircase and you can hear a cat like meow screech in his bag.
I did hear that. I also wanted to bring that up because I thought that was so funny and such like a great little just comical moment. But I love hearing that about the actor, and like that Easter egg is great. That's so funny.
I mean,
Also,
I don't know what I was doing at 7 years old, but it wasn't that.
So we already talked about the bad Santa kid getting killed. I think the reveal at the end when I never thought he was going to kill his own son, but I thought it was just going to cut to him cutting a jack-o'-lantern in the basement, like doing actual kid shit with him. To then see that it's the kid's head that he just killed. It's Charlie's head. Also, then cutting later on after I think after the principal gets killed, his son is just on the stoop handing out candy, dressed as his father
Yeah.
with the bloody shirt.
Yeah.
oh,
So
I didn't. Yeah.
that kid's gonna be a serial killer, clearly.
I think that's what they were hinting at. Mm-hmm. So we talked about Principal Wilkins. We talked about Mr. Krieg. We talked about the girls becoming werewolves. And then the last killing. I feel like there is something we are missing.
It's the start of the kids looking for jack-o'-lanterns to mess with Rhonda.
Yeah, you're right.
They go to one of their teachers, one of the teachers' house, and they're like, Coach Taylor's back there as a hot dog butt fucking a pig.
Wait, someone says that?
One of the kids, I think the eye patch pirate kid says it.
Yeah. How'd you miss that?
That's where the top word was.
So then, yeah, they do all this. We get the story about the bus and the quarry, and then they take the elevator down. They're like, oh, only 3 of us can fit on the elevator. And then like something's up, that they're just going to fuck with this girl. I think it is interesting, the Schrader character, who seems to be the one who's he's talked into this by the other girl. Who at first is like, oh, you think oh, she's a good girl, right? She's like, oh, we're doing this for UNICEF or whatever, the jack-o'-lanterns thing. And then it turns out, oh, she's the worst of all of them.
Yeah.
So, but that, that kill when first it's a fake kill, and then they break the rule by kicking the last jack-o'-lantern out, so the light goes out, and then they get
Yeah.
attacked.
Yeah.
Well, even Rhonda says it, right? She goes, "Oh, we keep them lit to keep the bad spirits away,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
She told
that's what she does.
So apparently, Rhonda's house when they pick her up was modeled after the White's residence in Cary. So basically, Rhonda's also kind, someone who's fucked with by all the other popular kids getting their revenge. I like when Rhonda comes up at the end and she has the jack-o'-lantern. She sees Sam and she's like, "I got it, we're good." And Sam just like walks past her.
I also want to point out that when Anna Paquin is looking for her prey, it's a great misdirect, right? I mean, you didn't see that coming, right, David? Where she's dressed as Little Red Riding Hood, but she's also the wolf,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And then, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the vampire getting her, and then I knew, like, when the vampire or when the red hooded body was dropped in the woods, and everyone's like, like the reaction, I was like, oh, well, that has to be the vampire guy. But I was like, but that doesn't really make any sense. So for that to be the reveal, and then for it to make sense, like that was a very cool moment watching it. It's like one of the reasons this movie will like grow on you, is because I think the writing towards the end is really strong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, like we've already talked about that. But apparently, originally, the song during the werewolf orgy was supposed to be Peggy Lee's Fever.
Ooh.
But then a studio executive, which I agree with this, was like, you need to have something with more edge and aggression. So they went with Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams, which I think is a good choice.
I think there could have been better I think going with something like that, edgier, is better, but I still think there could have been something a little bit with more energy. I think that's a pretty,
Deanna just wants the electric slide to play in the background of every scene.
yeah.
Slide to your left.
No, I think
Slide
something
to your
more,
right.
I think something like a Rob Zombie would have like given it some more grit and energy.
Yeah,
'cause
then we wouldn't be able to understand the lyrics.
yeah.
And then we already talked about this, but the end with the Brian Cox scene is really good. It's a very drawn out fight. We don't know what happens to that dog. I think presumed dead.
Oh.
Spite the dog.
Unfortunate.
You know,
and then you see at the same time you find out Brian Cox is the bus driver. You're like, oh well, he survived. Only to have then the kids end up at his door, and the movie ends that way.
You know, it's funny when he survives and Sam is kind of like getting out of there. He kind of walks away, kind of like, fuck it, you guys take him.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently you can see the kids if you watch the beginning of the movie. You can see the kids in the background going to Brian Cox's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I may have missed it.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah,
but also,
one.
I love my favorite part of this, which is a little bit overdone, but I think it works, is when Brian Cox is like learned his lesson, so he's handing out kids to the next people that come to the door, to see the werewolf girls, to see Rhonda walking back, to see all of that. Like I think is cool.
And then it pans to Sam, which I think is like a great. Oh, he is behind all of this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then the movie's like, no, but this guy also has to die because he's a bad person.
The bus driver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? So normally I would think a movie like this, it's what, 18 years old at this point. It's a very unknown director. Bryan Singer's not going to get to do a lot of work right now. But this seems to be
What
like
happened? I'm kidding.
But the biggest person in this movie, even at the time, like I guess was Anna Paquin, but she's not huge.
Brian
Brian Cox, Leslie Bibb. Brian Cox will take any work though. My point is like this is not a hard movie to get made at like Netflix right now. You know what I mean? Like you could easily, and like they would be looking for this type of shit. And also like, so Alon, you bought like the Arrow release of this, right? Like
I did.
People still love this movie all these years later. I think it's only grown like in estimation. I would not be shocked if there was like, because we're always looking for IP, like studios are right now. Would not be shocked if this like had a sequel sometime.
You know what's funny is I was literally in Barnes and Noble yesterday, and some guy had it in his stack that he was walking to the register with.
Oh.
And also, like, Spirit Halloween does all this stuff, and you can find Sam stuff. You can go to conventions, horror conventions, and there's huge trick or treat fans. Little kids, their parents dress their little kids up as Sam. I'll probably dress my kid up as Sam one Halloween when he's older. Uh, there's all these like
This, yeah.
things surrounding it that
The cult following that it's accumulated.
yeah, but I would even say like to the point where that little guy is almost as popular as I would say like Chucky or
Yeah.
Jason or Michael Myers.
Yeah, he has cemented himself in that kind of world of not villains or monsters, but like antagonistic main character in like the horror film. He's definitely
Yeah.
I was like reading a little bit on this. So the movie made no money. Like I think it had a $12 million budget or something like
It
that.
made like 5 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it made like $27,000 or something.
Oh.
It like absolutely tanked. But it has like a pretty high rating on Rotten Tomatoes and like Dread Central and places like that. They've given it like a 5 out of 5, but people have also said that it's like just as good as Halloween. And I'm like, that is crazy. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was like fun, campy, like a pretty solid watch, but I guess I don't really see what makes it so cult worthy.
Well,
Uh,
back to what David was saying about like easily Netflix could pick it up for a sequel today.
yeah,
I would see it more because it's an anthology. I would see it more picked up as a TV show.
that would be great.
Well, yeah, but the
I
line
think
between TV and movie on Netflix is so blurry. So, according to IMDb, the budget was 12 million and the worldwide gross was $1,100. $1,143. But as I said,
uh,
this was like a straight to DVD release basically. So,
yeah,
and I think also too, like for me, anthology movies almost never work except in horror. I think is when they work the best, right? Like multiple short stories
I
that can
agree.
either be connected or not. I usually don't like those movies. I also think that the reason this movie is such a cult favorite is because like our age group grew up on Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, things like that. So I
Mhm.
think this like resonates with those people where it's like it feels so much like those. I have two fun facts left, real quick, Alon. The one is Brian Cox's character is supposed to look like John Carpenter, which is why he has like the longer white hair.
Okay.
And then there are 8 locks on Brian Cox's front door, one for each child on the school bus.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I was just looking up famous anthology movies, and apart from The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, The French Dispatch, and Movie 43, everything else is a horror movie.
Yeah,
All the
Trilogy of
VHSs.
Terror. Like that's probably one of my favorite horror films, and that's a anthology.
What's it called?
Trilogy of Terror. That was with the little doll. Was it Karen Black who she like gets um this tribal doll and it comes to life and it attacks her. That's like one of the stories in the trilogy.
Jeez.
But like that one's super famous.
Well, the other famous one is the VHS franchise.
Oh yeah. I love some found footage type stuff though. That was super good. I think
Yeah.
you're right. That's actually one of the best ones. That
And I
was
think David's right. It really works when it's
yeah.
horror and it's a hit or miss. I was not a fan of The Ballad of Buster
So
Scruggs.
by the way, Deanna, just to show how she has much better horror bona fides than us, Trilogy of Terror is a TV movie from 1975. So like that's why you're on here, is to pull things like that. Where Alana and I are like, I really like that Halloween movie. Big fan of that.
Like horror is one of my favorite things. So I didn't actually realize that was a TV movie because it is pretty among like horror fans. It is pretty well known. So
But
that's
well,
in-
back in the 70s and 80s, TV movie didn't like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it means today. Like when as I was growing up, and like TV movies got worse and worse, and now it's like a TV movie as you think of like a Hallmark Channel original or something, or
Yeah,
like
yeah, absolutely.
or just they don't really even have them on like mainstream. I mean, mainstream
Network
TV.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, network TV doesn't really exist anymore either. Also, but like, I mean, Netflix makes TV movies now. Like the
Yeah.
really best, like a lot of Netflix movies are probably just like budget wise, like they're like a TV movie. But in the '70s and '80s, a TV movie is just like it could still have a really good budget. It could still have a good cast. It could still have like good writing and directing.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. I highly
well,
recommend this one for you guys.
I can't
well,
believe you pulled out a 70s reference while I'm over here being like, VHS is really old since 2012.
yeah. So, well, overall, yeah, I think this. I say this so much, and I guess it's just like if you're not in the right frame of mind for a movie when you start watching, you're like, this is lame, and then the ending is so good, or like as it goes along, it locks you in. But oh yeah, overall, this was a good experience. I'm glad Alon made this happen.
I
Yeah.
think you're gonna like it the second or third time you watch it. I would wait maybe a year or two and then
I agree.
revisit it.
Yeah. I did not like it the first time I saw it years ago, but I liked it much more this time. I think this is one of those films that you're going to come back to, and I don't know if it's like a nostalgia factor, but the rewatchability I think is there.
For sure. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon.
And this is Deanna.
And I finally watched Trick or Treat.
There you go with the hard R again.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
last time. It's the only way I'm allowed to get away with it.